Hello everyone, I am Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English channel. In our today's video, we are going to understand a very landmark judgment given by High Court and Supreme Court of India based on a tussle between two very important political players in our country. This case pertains to then incumbent Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi and her challenger in the 1971 Lok Sabha elections from the Raebareli seat, the socialist leader Mr. Narain. Now, what this case is all about, how it led to changes in Indian polity and changes in constitution, we'll discuss in our today's discussion. Now, the notes for these sessions, as you already know, they will be available on the Telegram channel ATS Live. So you can go to this channel, subscribe it if you still haven't, and download the notes. If you have any problem in finding the Telegram channel, this is the QR code. You can scan it and follow the same. Now let us come back to our today's discussion. Why are we discussing this particular case? Now this case, it is actually Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Narain case of 1975, and it is a landmark judgment which arose because of allegation made against Mrs. Indira Gandhi for electoral malpractice which she might have done during 1971 general election, and this allegation was made by the challenger who was Narain. Now you need to understand, Narain was her rival who contested 1971 election against her from the Raebareli seat and eventually lost the election. Now the decision of the court that made in this particular case had a very prolonged impact on constitutional framework of India and how it impacted the entire political landscape of our country. So I will let you know each and everything that you need to understand from this case from the exam's point of view. Now first let us understand the backgrounds and some important facts relating to the case. It will help you understand what was happening back in 1971 till 1975. Now you know India conducted its fifth election to the Lok Sabha back in 1971, and this election was won by Congress party, who was also the incumbent government at that time. Congress party in this election secured 352 seats out of the total 518 seats, and even then Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi won her election from the Raebareli constituency. But her victory, it was clouded with allegations of electoral corruption as well as using unfair practices to secure electoral victory, and this allegation was made against her by a socialist leader from Ram Manohar Lohia Socialist Party, Narain, who contested election against her in 1971 from the Raebareli constituency. Also, who is the current MP from Raebareli? Please do let me know in the comments. Okay. Now coming back to the case. Now, before the declaration of the election result of 1971, Mr. Narain was very confident. He was so confident that he even organized the victory rally even before the announcement of the results. But once the result was announced, it led to victory of not Narain but Mrs. Indira Gandhi in the Raebareli constituency. So, Mr. Narain, he decided to challenge this outcome by filing a petition to nullify the election in the High Court of Allahabad, and while doing so, he accused Mrs. Indira Gandhi of corrupt practices in violation of Representation of People Act 1951. Now you understand, Representation of People Act 1971 actually regulates how elections are conducted in Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha as well as state legislative assemblies, right? Now, one of the aspects about Representation of People Act is that it tries to conduct free and unfair elections in India. How it tries to create free and fair elections in India? It actually mandates that the ruling party should not misuse its power by utilizing the services of government officials or using government vehicles during the time of election. And currently, as we see that as Prime Minister uses government vehicles for security purposes, the bill is provided so that the ruling party needs to pay for the bill, not the government machinery, right? So this is how you ensure free and fair elections to happen in India, and these are there in Representation of People Act. So Mr. Narain actually alleged that Mrs. Indira Gandhi unfairly used the government resources which allowed her to secure victory in the Lok Sabha elections of 1971. Now, this petition was filed with the Allahabad High Court, and there he alleged that Mrs. Indira Gandhi obviously violated the provisions of Representation of People Act 1951. And while doing so, he accused that Mrs. Indira Gandhi used government officials, including the members of armed forces and local police, during her election campaign. And not just that, Mrs. Indira Gandhi also used government vehicles for her own private transport during the election work and campaigning. And he also alleged that while doing so, Mrs. Gandhi distributed liquor and blankets to influence voters, also an unfair decision during the election process, and her expenses exceeded 35,000 limits that are imposed by the Election Commission of India back then. So these were the allegations that were made against then Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi by her challenger Raj Narain, and this was in a petition that was filed with Allahabad High Court, right? So let's now understand what Allahabad High Court decision was about this particular case. Now, the High Court of Allahabad actually found Mrs. Indira Gandhi guilty of corrupt practices under the section 123(7) of the RP Act 1951, and while doing so, they annulled the election that was fought by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Not just that, the Allahabad High Court also disqualified Mrs. Indira Gandhi from holding the office of Prime Minister and barred her from contesting elections for the next 6 years. Now, you understand, to be appointed as a Prime Minister, you need to be member of either Lok Sabha or Raj Sabha. And even if you're not a member to Lok Sabha or Raj Sabha, you can get elected as a member to either of these houses in the next 6 months. But when a person is barred from contesting elections for the next 6 years, automatically this removes any chances of her becoming Prime Minister again. So this effectively changed the way how government was organized back then, right? Now, obviously, Mrs. Indira Gandhi was dissatisfied by this decision of Allahabad High Court, so she filed a review petition or an appeal with the apex court of our country, that is the Supreme Court of India. Now, understanding the gravity of this situation or the resulting political instability that might arise out of it, the Supreme Court of India then passed an interim order. Interim order basically is a temporary order until they decide the final case, right? So in that judgment, Supreme Court passed an interim order allowing Madam Indira Gandhi to attend parliamentary sessions, but they imposed certain caveats on it. Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she actually was allowed to attend parliamentary sessions, but while doing so, she couldn't have participated in debates, or neither she could have voted in any resolution in the Lok Sabha. So this was restrictions that was imposed on her, but she was allowed to attend parliamentary session while being in office of the Prime Minister, so as to allow then Congress party to choose a next leader who would be the Prime Minister after Mrs. Indira Gandhi, right? So this was how Supreme Court intervened. Obviously, Supreme Court intervened and considered this case to temporary measure. They passed an interim order. Now, while Supreme Court was considering the overall case, in that moment of time, then President Mr. Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, on the recommendation of Prime Minister herself, they imposed national emergency on the ground of internal disturbance, right? So this actually changed the entire Indian polity. As we have discussed yesterday, once you declare national emergency, the country changes from being a federal country to a unitary form of government, where central government gets a very large amount of power. Similarly, as the time emergency was in application, the government then passed 39th Constitutional Amendment Act in the Parliament, which also inserted Article 329A. And this Article 329A, it barred any court in India from hearing any petition that challenges the election of either Prime Minister of India or Speaker of Lok Sabha. And this effectively removed the jurisdiction of Supreme Court while reviewing the case based on Indira Gandhi and Raj Narain. So this is how government misused its power of first declaring national emergency, and while declaring national emergency, or while it was in place, they amended the constitution to prevent courts from considering petitions which challenges the elections of Prime Minister and Speaker, right? So let us discuss Article 329A more. Now, this article, obviously, as I've told you, it was inserted in 1975 when emergency was in place, and it stated that election of Prime Minister or the Speaker could not be challenged in any court of the law, be it Supreme Court, be it High Court, and any election dispute that might happen, this will be handled by a specific authority or a body which is designated by Parliament of India. And it also stated that a person who is appointed as a Prime Minister or a Speaker, even if an election petition is pending, then if a person is appointed as a Speaker or a Prime Minister, then that pending election petition will automatically be dismissed. So this basically prevented elections of Prime Minister or Speaker to be inquired on or challenged in the court of law. Now, obviously, The matter in front of the Supreme Court was to ascertain, first of all, the constitutional validity of Article 329A, which was inserted by 39th Amendment Act. Similarly, it also considered several amendments government had made on the election laws, as many people have alleged that adequate debate and discussions had not happened because many people were jailed during the emergency period. And while doing so, Supreme Court also considered the validity of Indira Gandhi's election, especially in light of many allegations made by Narain. So in this regard, let us understand what the Supreme Court had to say, right? Now, this petition was considered by a judge of 5 benches, which considered senior justices like Mr. A.N. Ray, Justice H.R. Khanna, Justice K. Mathew, Justice Beg, as well as Justice Chandrachud. Now, out of these people, Justice A.N. Ray, he was later appointed as the Chief Justice of India by surpassing 3 senior judges of the Supreme Court. Similarly, Justice M.H. Beg was also appointed as Chief Justice by superseding another senior judge of the Supreme Court, and another Chief Justice, Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, was also later Chief Justice during 1980s, and he was also the father of previous Chief Justice of India, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud. So this judgment or this case was adjudicated by a bench of 5 senior judges of Supreme Court. Now, while considering this case, Supreme Court deemed that Article 329A, which was inserted by a Constitutional Amendment Act, it actually is unconstitutional and void. Why? Because it violated the basic structure of Constitution. Now, in the Keshwananda Bharati case in 1973, Supreme Court has said that Parliament of India can make any changes to the Constitution of India, but it can't change certain basic features of the Constitution. Now, if you remember, Article 329A creates a distinction between the set of people. Any people, their election can be challenged in the court of law, but not of Prime Minister or Speaker, right? So it creates a differences in the status of people, which is, according to Supreme Court, violated Article 14, because Article 14 provides what? Equality of law and equal protection of law, which was violated as the government created a distinction between other legislatures and Prime Minister and Speaker. Similarly, it also prevented judiciary to review any petition that has been filed to challenge the cases. And according to Supreme Court of India, judicial review is also a part of what? Basic structure of the Constitution. So as it violated Article 14 and provisions of judicial review, therefore, according to Supreme Court, this Article 329A was declared as unconstitutional and void. Now, what did Supreme Court said about the election of Mrs. Indira Gandhi? While Supreme Court was considering the case, it held the validity of amendments that were made by government, saying that it is the job of Parliament in its constitutional right to amend any law which regulates how the elections are managed in the country. So according to Supreme Court, the amendments were actually constitutional because it is the Parliament that has the right to do so, and even if without debate it had the requisite number to pass the law, therefore it was valid. While doing so, Supreme Court also upheld the election of Mrs. Indira Gandhi as Prime Minister and as a legislator from Raebareli constituency, because there was no substantial evidence that was found which actually said that she was involved in malpractice. There was this person who earlier was a member of the government, but before joining the campaign of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, he had actually resigned from office. So highlighting that result, the Supreme Court said that when no evidences were there, therefore they were upholding the election of Indira Gandhi. Thus, Supreme Court in Indira Nehru Gandhi allowed for Indira Gandhi to continue to serve as Prime Minister of India, but most importantly, it said that the elections of Prime Minister or Speaker can't be prohibited from being considered by judiciary. Why? Because judicial review is a part of basic structure. Similarly, you can't differentiate between Prime Minister and Speaker on one hand and other legislatures and provide differences in the provisions of the law. Therefore, it also violated Article 14. So therefore, Article 329A was held unconstitutional. Now, this was what I wanted to tell you. Now, there are many notable Supreme Court judgments. Some of them we have uploaded in our YouTube channel. But what about other judgments? We cover them in great detail in our polity classes, which happens over the resolution P2I batches. Now, in P2I batches, we cover every subject, not just polity, but also economy, history, environment, geography, etc. Right? And right now, you can take admissions to the resolution batches at a discounted rate of 24,999, which has been extended based on special special request made by many of the students through phone calls and messages. But you need to understand that these discounted rate and admissions to these batches, all of which would end on 30th of June. And you can take admissions to either two of the batches, and it depends upon when you want to give your exam. Suppose if you're planning to give exams next year, so resolution morning batch of 2026 is for you. But if you plan to give later on in 2027 or in 28, the long-term evening batch is a good option for you. You can get this long-term evening batch at 29,999, whereas the resolution 2026 batch is available at 24,999 only up till 30th of June. Now, what is the process of taking the admission? How to apply the code? Let me give you a very basic idea. Go to our website, studyiq.com. Once you go to our website, you'll be needing to create an account here by simply logging in with your mobile number. After you're done logging in, select all language and click English. Why am I saying English? Because many students who might be watching this video won't be that comfortable in Hindi or in bilingual batches. So for you guys, we are offering exclusive batches in English only, right? As I told you, you have two options. You can take admissions to either one of them. How to apply the code? Let me tell you. Suppose if you want to take admissions in 2026 batch, these are being offered at 31,999, but I'll tell you a way where you can get discounts even on this amount, right? Now suppose click buy now. There is a code that is flashing on the bottom half of your screen that says use the code ATS Live to get discounts on all the courses available at StudyIQ. So click add promo code here. Once you click add promo code, on the left write ATS Live and click apply. As soon as you click apply, see the discount of 7,000 rupees is now applied. And you can use this code not on this course but on every course in the platform, right? And the diamond course, which is the course available for resolution batches, it is being offered at 24,999. And similarly, you'll have to apply the code ATS Live for long-term batch also. You'll get that for 29,999. Now, among these two batches, all the features remain the same. The only difference is the duration. So obviously, the long-term evening batch would have a larger duration, right? Now, this courses comes with many benefits. Obviously, you'll get live classes, lecture notes, one-to-one mentorship. But in addition to that, you'll also be getting a scholarship. Suppose if you clear your prelims examination, so the course fees that you're paying right now, your entire course fees will be refunded. Yes, your entire course fees will be refunded. And not just that, if you top your monthly test, you'll be getting 11,000 rupees financial reward. So these are benefits available under scholarship. Similarly, you'll be provided with a selection box, which is 20 booklets important from your exams perspective, includes all the subjects as well as books for PYQ. And also we are offering industry first prelims residential program. Few months before prelims, if you're in the top 10% performing students of your batches, you'll be brought to Delhi and every of your expenses, food related, lodging related, studies related, will be borne by StudyIQ, and you'll be put in an environment that promotes excellence, that promotes competition, so that you're able to clear prelims. And you know what happens after you clear prelims? Your entire course fees will be refunded. And after you clear prelims, you'll be brought to Delhi again for mains residential program, which is free of cost effectively for you, right? So all these benefits come in resolution batches, and do not forget, these batches will close on 30th of June and you'll get the discounted rate only up till 30th of June. Do not forget to let them know to use the code ATS Live, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to reach out us on 9240231070. Okay. Now, before ending the session, let's take a look at the practice question that I've taken. These practice questions essentially are the PYQs of 2017. In India, judicial review implies which of the following four statements, right? So this is the first practice question. Another practice question is 2021 question, which of the following factors constitute best safeguards of liberty in a liberal democracy? Do let me know the correct answer in the comment section, and if you answer it correctly, you know I will give your comments a thumbs up, right? So this brings an end to our today's session. The notes, you know it, they will be available on the Telegram channel ATS Live. So go subscribe to the channel and download the notes. So this is all from my side. We'll see each other again. Please have a very good day.